Hey guys, I am here with Carrie Ann and Connor for our new segment called BCBAs in the Wild. And it is all about BCBAs who are doing cool things outside of the typical spaces that we see BCBAs. So today we have Carrie Ann and Connor, as I said, and they have started something very cool. And Carrie Ann, if you could tell us a little bit about Beyond Distilling.
Sure. So I am a BCBA. I've been a BCBA for about 10 years, and I worked at a clinic for a little while, and then I opened my own clinic. And over the course of owning a clinic, I realized that there is not a lot of support for that aging out process when we turn 18 to getting older. If we have a disability, there is a large discrepancy in what are options for people for jobs. There's obviously like coffee shops and grocery stores and very minimal choices. So in a night out rambling discussion, we were discussing how it's not fair and how angry we all are that that is something that's happening, and then also the judgment that people with disabilities feel going out and having a drink. Like my sister can't come out with me and have a glass of wine without getting a little side eye from somebody next to us. Or if you have a physical disability, it's even worse. So the judgment, along with some alcohol fueled rage, kind of turned into how do we problem solve this situation. So my oldest son, who has autism's godfather, Tyler, owned a distillery in New York, and he kind of became part of that conversation. He was trying to leave to open his own distillery, and I was basically like, I know how to run a business. I don't know how to run a distillery, but I know how to run a business. If you want me to start that process, I'll get you going down here on how to operate, get a license, get insurance, all of that. You just distill, and I'll make this mission a part of the company. And him and his friend Ryan moved down not like 2 years later, and here we are. That was in 2019. So 2025, 6 years later, we have 2,000 barrels and a 13,000 square foot building, and a shift leader named Connor who's gathering everybody together and making sure they do their job over in the bottling room.
Incredible. And where are you guys located?
We're in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Amazing. So are you still working in the clinic space or not?
I am. So I still own it. I was at the clinic all day yesterday. I try to do both. I feel like it's a great way to reduce burnout because days that I am having a harder time, I just come in here and it helps my mental health. But yeah, I do both.
Very cool. And Connor, I want to ask you what it feels like to be running a business that has a real purpose behind it.
Well, I think it's very awesome that we are giving people with disabilities working to be able to work, and I just feel like I'm a part of something that could be absolutely like global, and just I just feel like I'm just a part of something that Carrie Ann created.
We all created.
We all created.
Wow. So what does your day look like, Connor? Like what when you're managing everyone?
Well, I wake up at 7 in the morning, get dropped off here by my dad that works around here. And I just make sure like is there everyone fine, everyone's cool, and like everyone's happy. And then I just like if someone's having trouble with something, I'll come in there and like, hey, this is how I would do it, like step by step and all that.
And
That's incredible.
you learned how to proof down bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to do sales orders now. You can operate a forklift. Lots of
Uh,
not
it's
confidently, but we can.
I don't know that I'd be confident with that, but managing people is not easy. I'll tell you, I really struggle with that still. So
Connor
very
does a good job.
Thank you.
so Carrie Ann, I want to know from you, how does your background as a BCBA help you run a business?
So I think that everybody should have some sort of background in understanding human behavior before they get into managing humans, whether or not they have different abilities. So that's just a personal belief. I don't know how people do it without that, especially in a world where employees are expecting more of that compassion and understanding, people will leave if you treat them like a number. So understanding the contingencies that keep people happy, it just makes it easier to run a business where people are wanting to stay and enjoy being there. If you are just a number and you're just looking at the profit margins, it is very difficult to manage people who are growing up in a world that want to be treated better. So if you've ever managed Gen Z or Gen Alpha, you're gonna have to have an understanding of what keeps people happy. We don't have like the same systems as in place as our parents and grandparents. So I think it's very beneficial. I've been teaching a lot of people in our management and in my clinic as well, just how to utilize the systems that we're learning to work with children in the clinic outside of that. And I feel like it's just important in general.
Definitely. I mean, I feel the same way, just generalizing those skills too. I mean, and unfortunately, what I see a lot is a lot of people like know how to do it with like a client, but when it comes to like staff or like business or like people have difficulty generalizing it. So I love to see it done. I kind of feel like I'm watching, honestly, like a Shark Tank, a little bit of like when they do like the update episode and you guys are on the other side, like sitting with the things behind you. I think
Yeah,
that's
where we are now.
yeah, incredible. So, what's one thing that you wish more business owners understood about inclusive employment?
One thing we try to do is be a model for other businesses. So what I wish people would understand is that there is no like staffing crisis. Like there are enough people to fill jobs. There you just have to be more accommodating in your approach. It is not hard to understand that somebody might need, right? Like James needs his walker.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's not hard to know that he can do his job while sitting. And I've even seen that in some grocery stores now. They let the cashiers sit down if necessary. So even just letting business owners know there are small accommodations that can be made to open up your staffing crisis, as they're calling it. But also that people are just significantly more capable than our society thinks. If you just have to maybe train a little bit longer, our training process is about 3 to 6 months, depending on the person, right? So if you think you can get somebody in 2 weeks and get them ready and independent in their job, that's great. But just letting other businesses know if you put in the time for training and put in accommodations that make people comfortable, you are going to have staff retention for significantly longer, and your turnover will reduce because you've invested upfront the accommodations and the understanding of what that person will need to succeed.
You know, it reminds me back to we did an episode with I need to think of it, but the author of Who wrote Winning with Underdogs, and it was all about like we're missing this like amazing group of individuals who could be part of the workforce, and he actually had created an entire like call center that was based on like all different, you know, like all differences in employment in terms of whether someone had like severe anxiety and couldn't leave the house at certain times or, you know, like some kind of physical impairment or whatever it was. And it was like, you know, and you also hear these incredible stories about, you know, some of these big companies taking these initiatives to hire maybe individuals on the spectrum and, you know, and they're their best workers they ever had in terms of reliability and showing up and following protocol. And I think that you doing this, I really hope like sets the model for so many other people. And with that, something I want to add is I have a brother on the spectrum with an intellectual disability, and all he wants is a job. And the same goes for another guy that I've been like, I was like with him in Partners PE years ago in high school, and he calls me like at least once a week, Liat, do you know a job for me? And he is now probably 39, I think. And what you're doing, I just want to say, like, I really admire you. I see how important it is because like having a brother myself, as well as seeing these individuals who just want a purpose as well. Like
And a community. Like we all
Yeah.
like to say we go to work and then we come home, but every job I've ever had, I've made some of my best friends. And to exclude that part of like the social experience of going to work, making friends, and those becoming lifelong friends, there's an entire group of people that don't get that ability. So yes, it's pay, equal pay, consistent work, and also just accommodations that make somebody feel like their contributions are giving to society as like they try to frame it. But also there are these social constructs where the only people I see during the week besides my family are my coworkers, and they keep me
Right.
going. And so that's some of the things we do here is to make sure like we have water gun fights, karaoke.
Yeah.
We try to go get lunch every now and then also. So just kind of opening up the relationships for our coworkers here to be able to do what we're all doing and go to work, make friends, and then go out to lunch and ramble about how horrible work is. Like everyone,
Yeah, isn't that
everyone
what we're all living for?
that's not all what we want to do. Like it's
Yeah.
just ramble about how the world is crazy with our friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone deserves to work.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone deserves to work. Everyone deserves to have a job too.
Mm-hmm. And be treated kindly, right?
Yes.
You were
Yes.
so stressed out when you were at other places and they would
Yeah, and they
treat,
treat me like a number.
yeah. So
Wow.
I think that was another thing too that was really important because it increases your confidence to be able to advocate for yourself. I've seen
Yes.
you and everybody else after they've been here for a while know how to advocate for themselves in a way that before it was how do I try to blend into this job so that no one calls me out for my differences, and now it's like no, you're going to understand why I need this accommodation. You're going to listen to me about why I need to take this 15-minute break after we just played a song way too loud. So there are different things that like we have seen personally that have been really cool, which is the ability to advocate for yourself and be okay with telling a job this is what I need rather than hiding away.
Incredible. And what's one of the most unexpected challenges that you have found since launching Beyond?
What do you think?
Ooh.
I know, because ours are probably different, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's like everyone's personalities? Like whenever we bring on somebody new, it probably getting used to
Yeah.
everybody's needs. Yeah, so that's definitely I could see on the bottling side, and Connor as a shift leader being something is whenever we bring someone else on, there's a learning curve of figuring out, okay, we've had the ability to do this, but this person might not like when we scream karaoke for 30 minutes. But but for me as like as the owner and doing more of the operations, it's I get into our world pretty deeply. I'm like, oh, we live in this inclusive, accommodating world. Everyone around me kind of believes the same kind of things. It is when I step out of that world where I start to hear comments that I am like, oh, I've created a world where everyone is inclusive and understanding, but that is actually not what's happening out in society. So when we first tried to get liability insurance, we were denied by everybody. And then our broker is actually Kate, who we will meet here in a little bit. Kate's dad, who works here, is an insurance broker, and we basically threatened a discrimination lawsuit because our investor is the kindest man on the planet, and he was like, "What do you mean you were denied?" Because of hiring people with intellectual disabilities and autism. That doesn't make sense to me. Just here's my lawyers, do whatever you need. And just threatening a lawsuit, all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's not what we meant. We can absolutely give you insurance. And it's different things like that. That's like, obviously, if you have a gross motor delay or there are issues in the way you like I'm thinking of James. James uses a walker. I'm not going to let him walk on something slippery because he might fall and hurt himself. But who engages in the most dangerous activity here?
Matt.
Tyler and Ryan, right?
Yes, yes.
So the owners of the company, who are two very able-bodied people, are probably the ones engaging in the most dangerous activity, but liability insurance just assumes they have the cognitive capacity to follow the rules. But our staff in the bottling line is significantly more likely to follow safety rules than the owners who like to climb on these barrels and do things that are very dangerous. So that was something for me that I found incredibly shocking, but also not surprising. It was like, oh, you actually, with your words, told me you were discriminating against an entire group of people and you were fine with it. And then we'll have people come in and say, like, you have alcohol around people with disabilities. We're like, yes, they are all over 21. It's like, yes, but that's not okay. Like, well, we have adults with disabilities who are on medicine and know they can't drink and they're using their individual advocacy for themselves not to drink. But then we also have, you like bourbon.
Mhm.
Deontay likes bourbon. Why can't they also advocate for themselves and know when?
It's like these lines people have created in their head.
Mhm. It's the
And
infantilization, right? Of just that we're not realizing our age ranges are 21 to 48. No, we're not breaking any laws. They're not breaking any laws. Don't act like able-bodied people aren't capable of over drinking and getting themselves into trouble. So why are we allowed to do that, but an entire subsection of the population is not able to experience those things and learn their own abilities? Like, how much can I drink? How much, when should I stop? So it that has been
basic contingencies will teach someone that.
exactly
Reinforcement and punishment.
so, a hangover, right?
Mm.
Some people learned that they don't like coming to work with a hangover, so they don't drink the night before work.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, I have like ADD and all that, and I mean, I like to drink a little bit, not like a whole bunch.
Right. Same. So that's just what I have seen has been the biggest hurdles for me, and then just bringing new people on and getting to know them over the course of 6 months to figure out that their accommodations are working, I would say.
I think that's what I've seen as any business struggle. Like anytime someone new comes to a team, like the dynamic immediately is like one way. It's, you really, I think that's just like across the board.
Yeah, we try to be just like any other workplace. We're not trying to glamorize it. We're also not trying to minimize what we're trying to do. We really are trying to just, hey, if we're a distillery and we could do this model, anybody can do this model.
So with that, what advice would you give to other BCBAs who want to think outside of the clinic?
Honestly, just do it. The idea that this place exists shows that if you have an idea, you just have to have a really good team around you that supports you, and really push for it. So this wouldn't exist if I didn't just one day get our tax ID and say, we are doing this. Tyler and Ryan both thought it was crazy that I just went online, registered us with the Secretary of State, and I was like, we are going to do this. We had no backing. We had just an idea. And there are going to be people that support you. And if you're a BCBA and you want to go into the space of opening an inclusive business, partner with nonprofits locally, because local nonprofits have been trying to do this pretty consistently. So we partner with almost every nonprofit that is involved in advocacy for adults with disabilities, as well as like job coaching. Like these nonprofits that have existed a very long time, and all they've been doing is looking for places to place people with disabilities. And I would say partner with them, and also just have the confidence to know that if you have the right people around you, you can get out of that like specific cliche of BCBA in clinic working with kids with autism, and you can never leave.
1000%. And something you had said earlier, like I feel like everyone should have some behavioral background before doing any job. Like I really do feel like it is a superpower if you understand like how to apply these things, like you had said, like understanding what different people want, like the idea of being able to pair, like build rapport, like BCBAs, if you're listening, you could generalize your skills, you could write a task analysis, you're good at analyzing data, like all things that businesses need.
Right. People do see it
So
as a superpower. They think that I can like see the future of what's going to happen, but the world is very linear. Things happen,
it's
behavior occurs, and then there's a consequence, and then that behavior is most likely to continue occurring. So, yeah, I think more BCBAs need to be out in different fields teaching
I
people
agree.
how to be human
1000%.
again.
All right, can I just ask one last thing? Can you give us a little bit of a tour?
All right.
I'll
Uh,
carry and you give the tour. Where are we?
Well, we're in a little kitchenette area.
Mm-hmm. We use the barrels as walls.
That's what we do at our office too with our pallets.
So this is what, 13,000 square feet. We have about 2,000 barrels. Those have been aging for anywhere from 2 to 10 years. Tyler and Ryan were able to purchase back their bourbon that they made up in New York. And then we have our fun little vats of bourbon over here that we proof down with water. Well, it's Connor. I don't do it. And then,
It's got its own
do
pedestal.
you want to warn everybody that I'm about to come in and tell them to say hello?
Hey, y'all are gonna be on podcast.
You say hi? Hi.
Hi, everyone.
So they're doing rum today. So, Matt has arrived. So there's some gin over there, but we are packaging up some rum today.
Wow, incredible.
Kate's wearing the coolest shirt ever.
Yeah.
This is Lee. Lee is our manager.
Hi.
So Lee from the school.
Hi, Lee.
Yeah.
She was working with one of our
I'm her
staff.
right-hand man.
Yeah.
It looks like you guys are having fun in there.
Yeah, and Matt's about to walk in, maybe.
I feel like I'm there. This is incredible. You guys having fun?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to lie either if you're not having fun. You can tell her.
What happened to Black? Putting on music.
Oh, we're about to play some music. Okay.
Oh, good.
All right. All right.
Music helps the vibe.
I'm gonna-
Incredible.
Hey, Matt. You want to say hi? Cool. Like, please.
Hey.
But that's.
He's like, I just walked in. Give me a
I
second.
just walked in. Please give me a minute. But yeah, that's everybody. Well, not everybody. It's everybody for today.
It is so incredible what you are doing. Seriously, keep up the incredible work.
Thank you.
Again, as someone with like a sibling and so many people close to me, thank you for the work you're doing. And creating like such purpose and meaning. And just really thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
letting us talk about it. We're trying our
I'm
best
so-
over here.
When I heard about it, Aaron, who had spoken to you, was like, this is a cool one. This is really, really cool. So
Yeah.
I'm stoked. You could find Beyond Distilling on Instagram at Beyond Distilling Company and their website, beyonddistillingcompany.com. Head over and check it out. So where can anyone find these spirits or gain access to purchasing?
So we're right now distributed in 8 states. We are in New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Houston, Texas, Wisconsin. I'm missing one, but we are also available online. So we just launched a store that will ship to anywhere in the country. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to try any of our products. We have bourbon, tropical gin, and coconut rum. And then we did do a limited release rye this year. So all of that will be available, and it's $25 for shipping anywhere. So that is how everyone should get their Beyond products.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
It's behavior, bitches.